Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't open up by offering and extending condolences to our UVA football family and their program. You know, our thoughts and prayers are with Coach Elliott, who I know personally, have come to know him over the years. Our thoughts and prayers are with him, his staff, their football program, and then the UVA community, and especially to the families that lost children. Really personal. When things like this happen, it puts a lot of things into perspective, especially for me, having been a dad that lost a son to gun violence. Talked about it with our team yesterday, and again, our thoughts and prayers are with them. As far as the Penn State game, you know, nobody in our building's happy with how things played out the last couple of weeks. I grew up in this profession under some really good coaches that taught me when things don't go well, it's on you as the leader. And so the way we've played the last 2 weeks is on me as a leader to get our team, our player, our program to play up to our standard. And that's what I intend to do. As I said, Saturday, it's not time to hit the panic button for us as a program. I had a good team meeting with our players where I opened up the floor for them. And here's where I saw growth in our team. And this is, to me, when we say we don't lose, we learn. When I opened up the floor to our team yesterday to ask, where are we? A simple question, where are we? The ones that I'm sure you guys want to ask. What I got and what I saw was that the culture of this team is heading in the direction that we wanted to head into, because I saw a lot of kids stand up and take accountability for their play. You know, this is the time when you lose games like we've lost the last couple of weeks, that's where finger pointing starts, blaming starts happening, and I see none of that in this program. And I can tell you, being here, this is year 4, we've had that happen where the fingers get pointed as to play calling and this guy playing and why I'm not playing. Well, that's not what has happened the last 2 weeks. And I've seen the leadership of this team when I continue to talk about us taking the next step. Sometimes you think it's tangible with wins and losses. We took the next step with the way our players responded, because they're not happy about how they played. And then they took accountability the same way I do as the leader of the program. And so to me, we're still moving forward. And I hope that, you know, our fans and our people understand that. And though the losses show different, what I saw in the locker room, what I saw in our team meeting is exactly what I had hoped to see, and it's encouraging. There will be some changes, obviously, like I said, after the game, and how we approach things and what we do, and we take these deep dive looks. You know, for me, I look at it as I've got to build our team to win in November. And what does that entail? Well, in this league, it entails being able to win up front, making sure that we have the ability to run the ball, stop the run, when we don't have the advantages of great weather, wetness, rain, wind, those things. And so we've got to build a team that allows us to win, and that's what we're doing. That's what we'll continue to do. I'm confident, again, that our team will show up. They showed up yesterday with the right mindset. I mean, what a great opportunity to play a top 2 team. You know, for me, probably the number 1 team in the country here at home with nothing to lose. As I told our team, there's nothing more dangerous than a desperate man that has nothing to lose. And that's kind of where we are. They've got everything to lose. They've got a big game after ours, I think. I don't know who they play, but they play somebody after our game that it's a pretty big game. And so for us, it's going to be about us going out, doing the things that we practice with the right kind of effort, with the right mentality. You know, if there's anything that really jumped off the screen to me is that Penn State outbeat us. They out-toughed us. They played tougher and harder than we did. And that's not typically what a Maryland football team has looked like. And that's on me as a head coach. I mean, they should take on my personality. And to me, I can tell you that I don't feel there's very many people out there that are tougher than me. I'm built for this. So I'm excited about this opportunity against Ohio State, a top team coming in here to the Shell. Again, those numbers are going – we're starting to lose opportunities for our seniors, so this is a great one. Our captains this week, Ami Finau, Jahari Branch, and Tank Booker. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
When you talk about making some adjustments up front, is that more of a recruiting emphasis, or do you anticipate there'll be lineup changes?
Oh, everything involved. Recruiting, trying to find a match of the best players. We're fortunate, hopefully this week we get Mason Lunsford back, who's been kind of a stalwart in there to kind of steady things. You know, when you lose a guy up front, the way that unit plays and the unison that's involved, when you start moving pieces around, which we've had to do the last few weeks, it takes its toll. So it'll be great to get Mason back this week, as long as he continues to move toward in the direction he's moved so far. What we do scheme-wise, tying down both edges, playing a little more Joey Burns, a fullback in there when it gets wet out, to be able to give us a chance to be able to cover people up, knock the line of scrimmage back, and run the ball effectively. And then on the flip side of it, defensively, stop the run, knock back, penetration, make tackles, do all those things that you got to do to win in November in the Big Ten.
Mike, Ohio State leads the Big Ten in just about every offensive category. They've been held to under 45 points just twice by Notre Dame and Northwestern. Is there any common thread when you look back at the tape of those games that they did defensively against the Buckeyes that might help you this week?
I think the biggest thing when you watch Ohio State, because of the way they're spread out, diverse with the talent they have on offense, it starts with trying to affect the quarterback, which, the games that they've lost over the years here that I've had a chance to evaluate is they've been able to get the quarterback on the ground and effectively create problems for him, because he's the guy that makes that thing go, and he's a special player. And so, we're going to have to do some things and where we can try to affect this quarterback, because, when they've struggled, it's because people have gotten to the quarterback and affected him. And so we've got to do some things on defense to try to affect the quarterback.
When you mentioned that, taking a deep look, what have the last couple days looked like as a staff? And is there anything, not like game planning wise, but anything else specific that you plan to change this week?
The big thing is the deep dive is really looking at everything we do in our program, how we travel, what we do, how much we practice, rehab, scheme. For me, I've watched the Penn State game. I got back, stayed in my office, watched it 3 times, offense, defense, special teams, met with Leah in the morning. He and I watched it together to flush and really kind of get back to the roots of where these issues are, because we haven't played very well the last 2-3 games. Now we've dealt with a backup quarterback playing 3 games ago against Northwestern. We've dealt with wind and rain in the Wisconsin game, and then we've dealt with some elements this week. But the thing that jumped out for this game is that I felt we got out-toughed, and that's personal for me.
Speaking to Lee, he's been held under 100-yard passing over the last 2 games. When you do look at the tape,
Last few or last 2?
Last 2.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what are you seeing? Is it the amount of pressure that he's facing from the linebackers in these last 2 games? Like, what are you in the seeing?
I know this. A couple weeks ago, there were a lot of teams that played in the Midwest that were held under 100 yards passing. I think the guy we play in this week maybe have been under 100 yards passing in the Northwestern game. That's when I talk about building a team for November in the Big Ten. Weather is a factor. And so, as I said, balance isn't necessarily throwing it for a certain amount of yards or running it for a certain amount. It's being able to do both when you need to. And when we play in some of the elements we played in, we need to run the ball. And so there hasn't been a big emphasis other than when we had to throw the ball to try to put the ball in harm's way. Have we protected him very well? No, we haven't. But there were opportunities for him to maybe not take as many sacks by getting the ball out. There were some guys open. As he and I have spoken about, it's about, being very disciplined and not looking at the rush because you have – he's got beat up the last couple games. You get sacked 12 times the last 2 games. It's a lot of hits on the quarterback. And so it's my job to make sure we're doing things to get him protected. We're calling things that allows him to get the ball out of his hands quicker, and that, we can keep him upright to where he can do the things that Leah has shown the ability to do really well.
Hey, Coach.
What's up, man?
You talked about players stepping up, taking accountability after the Penn State game. Was there any player in particular that kind of showed that leadership during that meeting for you?
I can tell you that it was a bunch of them. I don't want to get into, in-house family stuff, but all classes, walk-ons, freshmen, seniors. We had a lot of guys, because when you ask that question, where are we, I knew where I thought we were and what I felt we needed to do, but I wanted to hear from them because, in this day and age of transfer portal, NIL, we work for them. If you really want to look at it, as a head coach, I work for those guys. And so I needed to find out from them where they saw us. And I was really, really encouraged with the response I got. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 people. It was a lot of people. And that, to me, is the cultural shift that we need to continue to have.
Coach, you mentioned the play calling. Have you been happy with the play calling? And if not, is there something that you want to see a little bit different offensively?
I mean, is it just offensive play calling or defense? I mean, just offense play calling. I mean, obviously, when you don't score points, then I don't think anybody in the building is happy with it. But as we've come to find out, and when you watch the tape and evaluate it, you can call anything you want, but if it isn't getting executed, I mean, most plays, and I say this, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful, every play you design and draw up is designed to work because you got everybody blocked on paper, you got everybody, but it takes one or two guys to not make the block, and now it doesn't work. And the first thing you want to do is question, hey, the play calling, is it a good play call? Well, I'm sure every game, I know when I called plays, there were games where I said, damn, that was a terrible call, and I wish I wouldn't have called it then or there. But no, I don't have a problem with the play calling as much as our execution of it. And then I do think starting with myself first, that I have to make sure that we have plays in our offense and that we're developed as a team or offense when we face certain elements that we can do certain things to win the game, whatever it takes.
Coach, you talk about, where are we? What needs to happen in these next 2 games and then the bowl game after that for this to be considered a successful season in your eyes?
I ain't worried about the next 2 right now. I'm worried about Ohio State, as we always try to do, and that's, again, the philosophy. What needs to happen, we need to find a way to win a game against a ranked team here at home this week, and that's what all of my energy and focus has been about.
CJ Stroud's a Heisman Trophy candidate. What makes him special? What leaps off the tape? It feels like the Buckeyes grow these quarterbacks on trees.
He's a special player, man. The biggest thing that jumps off to me is I think they have him listed as maybe having 4 sacks, but he really only has been sacked 1 time this year. He's a slippery guy inside the pocket. Like, he has some really unique ability to manipulate and work inside of the tight areas of the pocket. Very few times you get clean shots on him. When he pulls the ball down in the passing game, he is a threat as a runner. Probably one of the best deep ball throwers I've seen in the college game in a long, long time. His accuracy on deep balls are phenomenal. But the thing that with most great quarterbacks do is they make the players around them better, and he's one of those guys. Special player. Thanks, guys.